Okay, now we're going to go out to our recorded questions, and if you would like to call in and possibly have your question answered on the air, you can call us at 833-526-8477. That's the LCN Tips line, 833-LCN-TIPS, 833-526-8477. We do get quite a few calls on there, but I do try to answer the ones that I think are going to help the most people each week. So if you've got a question, please call in 833-526-8477. And our first one is coming out of a beautiful part of northern Indiana, Goshen, Indiana. Beautiful Amish country up there, great area. Here we go.
Hey, Alan, this is Shane from Goshen, Indiana. Hey, love that you're doing a podcast now. I wanted to call in and ask a quick question. I've been listening or watching on YouTube for about 3 years now and have taken my lawn from, a decent lawn to one that any lawn care nut could be proud of. But I'm moving to a new house. The yard there is already well established, but there are 2 large maple trees that in the spring drop what we call whirlybirds all over the yard. So I have 2 questions. The first is, what do you do when you are starting in a new yard in mid to early summer? What are your tips to start? And then secondly, what do you do about the whirlybirds all over the yard? Thanks.
All right, Shane, awesome questions. And you know what? Congratulations on your second lawn coming up now. I think that's really cool to look at. I mean, how many lawns do you think you're going to own over your years and over your period of time? And what's cool is, so Shane's got a lot of experience. If you look at the DIY space, he's got a couple of years, 3 years of experience here working on his lawn, and he's done a really good job with it. Now he's got a brand new one, and he's starting to already look ahead. He's already starting to look at what potential challenges might I face. And the first are those dirty maple trees and those samaras, which you guys call whirligigs, whirlybirds, helicopters. They're basically the seeds falling from the maple trees. I used to have silver maples that were in my parkway back when I lived over in Griffith, Indiana, over by there on Glenwood Road, 709 Glenwood is where I used to live, over by Griffith, Indiana, over by there. And we had giant silver maples in the parkway, and so I used to get those helicopters too. And I'm sorry, Shane, there is absolutely nothing you can do about those helicopters besides cut the trees down, which you probably don't want to do. And even if your neighbors have those maples, you can cut the trees down all day long, and their helicopters are still going to come into your lawn. So the only thing that you can do is do your best to mow them up. So maybe in the spring when the helicopters are falling heavy, that's when you do choose to mow a little bit lower, bag your clippings, bag them up, suck them up. You might get some little trees growing in the grass. That's where the frequent mowing comes in. They will not grow. They will not become a tree as long as you continue mowing. And eventually they'll just burn out of gas and they will go away, and they shouldn't be a problem for you in the summer. But other than that, there is nothing you can do about those troublesome whirligigs falling in the lawn. Now, as far as where you're going to start with the new lawn, I would say the first thing I would ask you to do is go out and measure that lawn. You're already looking now that you have some maple trees, so I would start looking at what section of my lawn is overly shaded from the maple trees and what kind of grass is growing beneath them. Is it fine fescues in there mostly, which is what I'm going to guess, or maybe they're not shading the whole lawn. Maybe you're getting some sun and that kind of thing, so you got mostly Kentucky bluegrass in there. And you may not even be able to identify the different cool season grasses that you have, but you can definitely identify how thick they are in different areas of the lawn and how they're growing and how they're doing based on this time of year. So the first thing I would do is definitely get out, make yourself a property map, and measure each area of your lawn. While you're doing that, be observant of other things too, not just the sun shade, even though that's the most important thing, but look at different areas and how they are responding. What weeds are in here, what weeds are not here, what foot traffic patterns are here that are not there, and why are those foot traffic patterns there? You know, like I've talked about before, maybe people walking out to a shed or whatever, maybe you can make some changes there. But whatever you need to do to start learning your land, that's the idea. Be observant of what it is, how it's progressing, and what it looks like. And I also recommend you take pictures. One of the things I think that we all miss are before pictures. Where is the lawn at when you move in versus where is it after you've worked on it? Because you can use that for before and after pictures. Those are cool. But also so you can refer back to them and go, I used to have a dry spot there I forgot about, or I used to have this or that, or this tree's gotten bigger and it looks like the roots are encroaching and stealing more moisture from the soil. Whatever it is, you will notice all of those things if you have before pictures. So that's the first thing I would tell you to do is get yourself a property map and then go ahead and take some pictures. The second thing I would do is to get your irrigation in line. I've talked about this earlier in the podcast, but you are coming into summer and you do not know this lawn. You do not know how it's cared for. You don't know what the roots look like. You don't know how it's been, nurtured or not or neglected. So get the irrigation in line. So when it starts to face summer stress, you can keep the water going for it and you can make sure that it's least watered properly. The next thing I would do is I would apply a grub application, because we don't want to have you dealing with grubs later on in the year. So it's better to just go ahead and take care of that. So that's something that's out of your purview, and it's not a concern to you. But the other thing that will do for you, Shane, is it will give you your first foray into applying granular product to your new property. One of the things you're going to learn, and definitely you're going to learn it because it's your last property, you've been taking care of it for these few years, you know the pattern that you spread at. You know how to spread granular product the most efficient way because you've done multiple applications on that property over the years. This is your first time at this new property, and so you're going to have to learn it. And you're probably going to make some mistakes the first time. You're probably going to miss a few spots. Maybe you're going to overlap a little different just because you just don't know. Even walking the property ahead of time, you're going to face obstacles in the lawn that are going to affect the way that you spread, and you'll have to learn how to work around those. And so that's what I would recommend you do, is just apply an insecticide first. That's not going to burn anything, not going to hurt anything, not going to do anything that way, but it will allow you to understand what it's like to walk that property in application. I was actually watching a video from my friend Grass Daddy Tim. If you guys know Grass Daddy, you can see him on YouTube. Just search Grass Daddy. He actually has a project lawn at a friend of his house, a giant property. It's beautiful. It has ponds on it and all kinds of shrubbery and stuff, and looks like grass that kind of weaves in and out of it. And he was putting down some fert there, and he said the same thing. He goes, look, I've never done anything at this property before. I'm not sure the best way to apply, so I'm just going to put in some organic fert and just go for it. And that's what I recommend you do. Put in something like that you don't have to necessarily worry about it hurting anything, which, again, most lawn products are not going to hurt the lawn. But get something like that's a little bit of a no-brainer, and go out there and just spread it like Grass Daddy did and see what happens, because I guarantee you the second time you come back, you'll be much more versed and you'll know where to start and what your plan of attack should be. So that is the next thing that I would recommend you do. And all of that has to do with learning your land. So spend the summer, Shane, and learn your land. And then once you know what your land is like, and once you feel comfortable about it, that's when you can set up for fall, because fall is not that far away. It's only, 75 days away before you can start, looking at some of those type of things. Let's go ahead and really start getting ahead of it in the fall, but use the summer to set that up. And as always, Shane, let's hope for the best.